ISR, autonomous aviation, and mission systems. Also joining us is Matt McHugh, founder and CEO of DZYNE Technologies, who will become Chief Technology Officer of Ondas Sentinel. It is a real pleasure to welcome Matt to Ondas. Matt has spent more than 2 decades designing and delivering advanced autonomous systems for some of the most demanding customers in the world. He is not only an exceptional engineer, but an outstanding entrepreneur and business leader who has built DZYNE into one of the premier autonomous defense companies in the United States. Matt, we're honored to have you and your entire team joining Ondas. The combination of our organizations creates something much larger than either company could have built independently, and we're all incredibly excited about what lies ahead. Let me begin with a brief overview of the transaction. Today, Ondas announced the acquisition of DZYNE Technologies in a transaction valued at approximately $875 million.
Hey, Zero, we're going to want to save this deck, all right? Just keep that in mind.
The consideration consists of $200 million in cash and approximately $675 million in Ondas equity. Importantly, the transaction aligns both organizations for long-term value creation. The DZYNE shareholders, led by majority owner Highlander Partners, are now one of our largest stockholders, a fact that underscores their confidence in the combined company and our shared vision for the future. In fact, Highlander has locked up more than half the shares received in the transaction for a 6-month period. This is not a financial acquisition. It is a strategic combination designed to create a larger, stronger, and more competitive autonomous defense company. It's also important to highlight that DZYNE significantly enhances the financial model for Ondas, creating a larger and faster growing revenue and gross profit pool to help support the OpEx and infrastructure investments Ondas is making to capture value and market capitalization in the rapidly growing unmanned and autonomous systems market. DZYNE is expected to generate more than $300 million of revenue in 2027 with expanding EBITDA margins and exceptional growth characteristics. We believe this transaction is highly accretive to Ondas investors today, and given DZYNE's product portfolio, customers, operating scale, talent, US footprint, and strong growth profile, that accretion will compound over time. The acquisition closed concurrently with signing on July 2nd, allowing us to begin integration immediately and accelerate execution from day one. This acquisition is transformational. It establishes what we believe is the leading independent autonomous defense and security platform focused on delivering for the next generation of warfare. Why? Because DZYNE dramatically strengthens every major component of our business. First, it immediately expands our US operating platform. Combined with Worldview, we are creating Ondas Sentinel, a scaled US defense organization with engineering, manufacturing, deployment, and sustainment capabilities that very few emerging defense companies possess. Second, we gain extraordinary talent with nearly 120 engineers, deep manufacturing expertise, and outstanding operational leadership, and an organization that knows how to move products from development into production and into the field for customers. Third, DZYNE brings exceptional customer relationships. The company has earned trust across the Department of War, Air Force Research Labs, every combatant command, and numerous allied defense organizations. Those relationships are difficult to build. They represent years of successful execution and become an invaluable asset for the combined company. Fourth, DZYNE significantly expands our technology portfolio. Persistent ISR, long-endurance autonomous aircraft, counter-drone systems, autonomous interceptors, launched effects. Together with the existing Ondas portfolio, we now address many of the fastest-growing areas of defense modernization across the world, with a deep portfolio of solutions and an extreme level of talent. Finally, this dramatically strengthens our financial model. We add substantial revenue, positive EBITDA, expanding operating leverage, and a clear path towards scaled profitability. This will enhance our investment flywheel and propel Ondas market capture opportunities on day one. Before we continue, we'd like to show a short video introducing the outstanding technology portfolio DZYNE is bringing into Ondas. Let's take a look. The acquisition of DZYNE isn't simply about adding products. It's about responding to a fundamental change occurring across modern warfare. The battlefield has changed. Victory increasingly belongs to the side capable of deploying autonomous systems rapidly, affordably, and at scale. For decades, military advantage centered around exquisite platforms, purchased in relatively small quantities over long procurement cycles. That model is changing. Ukraine, Israel, and increasingly the Indo-Pacific all demonstrate that autonomy, software-defined systems, and affordable mass are redefining military capability. A similar transition is occurring inside our industry. Autonomous technology has matured beyond experimentation. The challenge today is industrialization. Governments no longer need isolated demonstrations. They need companies capable of designing, manufacturing, deploying, and sustaining autonomous systems at scale. That requires engineering, manufacturing, supply chains. It requires software, robust and scalable operations. And above all, it requires financial strength. These strengths form the core of durable, long-term, trusted customer relationships. This is exactly why Ondas and DZYNE belong together. Our mission is straightforward: to help our customers achieve decisive operational advantage through multi-domain autonomy, persistent intelligence, software-defined warfare, and affordable autonomous effects. We believe this combination positions us exceptionally well to meet that mission. So why now? Because we believe the timing could not be better. For years, both Ondas and DZYNE have invested in developing mission-ready autonomous technologies while building trusted relationships with defense and security customers. Today, those investments are converging with an extraordinary shift in demand. The conflicts in Ukraine and Israel have fundamentally reshaped military thinking. Autonomous systems are no longer experimental. They are becoming central to modern force structure. Defense budgets are shifting accordingly. Governments are accelerating procurement. Affordable mass, autonomous effects, persistent ISR, and counter-drone systems are moving from emerging technologies to strategic priorities. At exactly the same time, Ondas and DZYNE have reached the scale where combining creates immediate competitive advantages. Our technologies fit together naturally. Our customer relationships are complementary. Our engineering organizations strengthen one another, and our manufacturing platforms scale together. And our financial model becomes substantially more powerful. Most importantly, we believe there is a first-mover opportunity. The category of scaled autonomous defense companies is only beginning to emerge. And of course, our objective is not simply to participate in that transition. Our objective is to lead it. We believe DZYNE has earned the reputation as one of America's next-generation autonomous defense companies. The company has developed a portfolio of highly differentiated autonomous platforms that are operational today and aligned with the fastest-growing defense priorities. Its business spans 3 core franchises with a suite of systems.
Folks, if you're on here, you're watching this live. This is Ondas's special shareholder meeting for the announcement of the DZYNE acquisition that just came out this morning.
DZYNE plays in is long-endurance ISR. Here, DZYNE offers Ultra and Leap, highly capable autonomous aircraft designed to deliver persistent intelligence at dramatically lower acquisition and operating costs. Ultra, in particular, is emerging as an extremely compelling complement to the MQ-9 Reaper, providing persistent ISR at substantially lower cost while supporting a broad range of mission payloads. Second is aerial security and counter-UAS. In counter-UAS,
they're going right after AeroVironment here, fellas.
Inside IonStrike sits DroneBuster, which we believe is one of the world's most widely deployed handheld counter-drone systems and the only U.S. manufactured solution utilizing GNSS spoofing technology. The third franchise is autonomous effects. Products such as Blitz and Grasshopper address the rapidly growing affordable mass and launched effects markets, supporting distributed operations and swarm concepts that are becoming central to modern military doctrine. Financially, DZYNE is equally impressive. We expect approximately $191 million of revenue during 2026 and greater than $300 million in 2027, driving a 3-year CAGR of over 80%. The business growth is supported by a significant backlog and a large and visible pipeline. Clearly, DZYNE is at a pivotal inflection point in its growth, and Ondas provides the scale, infrastructure, and operating platform to help accelerate its next phase. It's a playbook we have executed successfully time and again, through our strategic growth initiatives. What gives us tremendous confidence in DZYNE is that this isn't a company built around future concepts.
Woo-wee.
It is a company delivering product and services today. Its systems have been deployed globally across every U.S. combatant
Look at that,
command
man.
and numerous
DARPA,
allied defense
Japan,
organizations.
Australia,
Its customers include the U.S. Air Force,
NASA,
Army,
Homeland Security,
SOCOM, Homeland Security, AFRL, NASA, NGA, and multiple allied militaries. And given DZYNE's pipeline, aligned with Ondas relationships, is likely to see this customer list deepen and broaden from here. Those relationships were earned through performance. Operationally, the company is equally impressive. DZYNE operates a mature US-based manufacturing and supply chain, supported by more than 145,000 square feet of production capacity. Its products are supported by established customer training, field service, and sustainment organizations. One area I want to emphasize is Ultra. We believe Ultra is approaching a significant inflection point as it transitions toward a major program of record. Again, this is a high-performing system built for purpose for extremely long endurance with payload diversity, which is much lower cost relative to legacy UAV platforms. Much
right
like
after
Worldview,
AeroVironment,
DZYNE's
guys,
revenue model
right
will
after
leverage delivering
AeroVironment
ISR
right here.
capability
They're having a
through
little pop, a
GoCo
little day
and
in the
increasingly
sun, but
CoCo,
man,
or government-owned,
about to get
company-operated, and contractor-owned, contractor-operated service models. That recurring services approach improves customer flexibility while creating attractive long-term revenue visibility for the company. This slide illustrates another important advantage created by the transaction: scale. Moving the unmanned sector across the adoption S-curve will require companies like Ondas to position for exponential growth. Production capacity is a critical enabler for us to do just that. DZYNE operates 6 facilities across the United States, anchored by its headquarters in Irvine, California, with additional operations supporting engineering, manufacturing, and customer engagement. Importantly, DZYNE contributes approximately 145,000 square feet of US-based manufacturing capacity. Combined with our existing operations, Ondas now has more than 330,000 square feet of manufacturing space across the United States.
Wow.
This puts Ondas in a very strong position competitively and with customers. As demand accelerates, our customers need partners capable not only of innovating, but of delivering. This footprint provides the production capacity, engineering resources, and operational infrastructure necessary to support that growth. With this introduction and overview, I will now hand the call to Ryan Hartman, who will add additional context around DZYNE's
Worldview.
capabilities and the strategic and operational fit for the combined DZYNE and Ondas.
Thank you, Eric. We are genuinely excited to welcome DZYNE to Ondas. This is a company I've followed since its inception. I have tremendous respect for Matt McHugh, who I've worked with for more than 20 years. And I recognize the depth of talent inside DZYNE and their ability to help us realize the full vision for Ondas. As we've previously shared, Ondas' strategy is to build a multi-domain business that delivers our customers capabilities ranging from the surface to the stratosphere, unified by a common tasking, collection, processing, exploitation, and dissemination architecture. We've been very active executing against that strategy. In 2026 alone, we completed acquisitions and partnerships, including Bird Aerosystems, Rotron Aerospace, and the Palantir partnership in March, Mistral and Worldview in April, and Omnisys in May. As you'll note from the portfolio map on the screen, a clear gap remained between our low-altitude unmanned systems and our stratospheric assets, specifically in the Group 4 and Group 5 long-endurance UAS category. DZYNE fits nicely in between the stratosphere and the assets we already have in the portfolio for multi-rotor UAVs and Group 1 and Group 2 UAS. It is a precise, purpose-built complement to what Ondas has already built, and it gives us coverage from surface to stratosphere with no gaps. With Skyweaver as our mission layer and Palantir's Warp Speed and Foundry as our operations layer, the addition of DZYNE completes a cohesive architecture across land, air, and stratospheric domains. With the systems already in our portfolio, Ondas had the ability to address a meaningful portion of the global TAM. With DZYNE's addition bringing launched effects, additional counter-UAS technologies, and Group 4 and Group 5 UAS, we significantly expand the addressable market available to Ondas. What you're looking at here are 3 of the fastest growing segments in defense: persistent long endurance ISRT and contested airspace, a counter-UAS market where spend is migrating from detection to low-cost autonomous defeat, and a $15 billion+ Department of War push into low-cost launched effects. Each segment carries attractive compounded annual growth rates. We look forward to maturing and evolving these platforms so we have a right to win in each and to capturing an outsized portion of these markets over the next 4 years. Ondas has been focused on 4 specific verticals where defense modernization spend is accelerating: aerial security, ISR and persistent intelligence, precision strike, and autonomous ground systems. DZYNE represents a transformational step forward in 3 of these 4 areas. It strengthens our aerial security posture with Sawtooth and Dronebuster. It deepens ISR with Ultra and Leap, and it expands precision strike with IonStrike. These are complementary, not redundant additions to capabilities we already operate. With that foundation in place, I'd like to turn it over to Matt, who will walk through the core DZYNE franchises joining the Ondas portfolio and how they strengthen our position across long-endurance ISR, counter-UAS, and precision effects. Matt, over to you.
Thank you, Ryan. It's an honor to join forces with you and Eric and the entire Ondas team, and we're excited about what DZYNE and Ondas can build together. I'd like to start with our marquee long-endurance ISR platforms, Ultra and Leap. Ultra delivers over 3 days of endurance at over 25,000 feet altitude, with modular payload support for EO, IR, targeting, radar, SIGINT, and communications relay.
Hey, just know I'm going to interrupt this real quick. We're missing a couple of sentences here, but this is Ondas going and Eric going directly at the military industrial legacies. All right. And the AeroVironments, the Kratoses of the world, they're about to get steamrolled. They just got a $500 million contract with counter-UAS for the Army, right? This acquisition in and of itself is almost $1 billion, setting up the full vertical stack. Go back to that last slide, and we're going to cover this when we get JT on here in a little bit. They are filling out from ground to stratosphere. They're filling out that little gap in the middle right here with this DZYNE acquisition, this long endurance ISR capability. What's above it is a blank spot space. So that's what's coming next, folks, in my opinion. All right, back to the show. This is important stuff. All right, Ondas longs. This is good. This is a good thing to be hearing.
Their capabilities complement Ondas's stratospheric assets, and Skyweaver will make them even more capable by enabling mission autonomy. The second DZYNE franchise we are emphasizing here is counter-UAS, centered on kinetic kill with IonStrike. In a 6-month period, our team went from concept to a demonstrated capability specifically designed to address the Shahed 136 threat. We're seeing significant demand because the drone threat is at an all-time high. What we learned in both Ukraine and Epic Fury is that the ability to engage targets like the Shahed 136 is an absolute requirement and an urgent one for the U.S. Department of War. Sawtooth system, both designed as disruptive soft kill solutions against a broad set of UAS threats. True to DZYNE's history of innovation, we're always advancing to address new threats. In the near term, we'll be releasing a long-range electronic attack solution and a LiDAR detection capability to augment the already significant counter-UAS portfolio we have in the market today. To round out the overview of DZYNE's portfolio, we want to highlight the precision strike and autonomous effects capabilities brings to the market. This portfolio includes our low-cost, fully autonomous, swarm-capable Group 1 UAS Blitz. Blitz delivers a 150-kilometer range and a true multi-mission capability. The system is modular by design, configurable in the field for a range of missions, and built to be assembled by soldiers operating in an expeditionary environment. In addition, we bring Grasshopper, an autonomous, expendable glider capable of delivering substantial payload into contested or denied environments. We're excited about the unique mission profiles this enables, including pairing Grasshopper with a stratospheric balloon for battlefield delivery, and we look forward to bringing these capabilities forward under Ondas. Ryan, back to you.
Thank you, Matt. I want to congratulate you and the DZYNE team on the success you've achieved and reiterate how excited we are to bring those capabilities into Ondas. One of the most important things Ondas does is create platforms for unique companies to build a business around. Over the years, significant investment has been put into specific technologies. What's necessary to scale those businesses is a structure that lets us continue to innovate and manufacture at a scale that meets customer demand. With that, we are pleased to announce the creation of Ondas Sentinel, a dedicated operating platform that reflects Ondas's mission to help customers see more, perceive faster, and act with confidence, turning persistent and intelligent sensing into decisive advantage. I am honored and excited to partner with Matt to bring Ondas Sentinel to life, unifying design and worldview under one dedicated operating platform to accelerate momentum. Together, this combined organization includes 8 U.S. facilities, more than 330,000 square feet of manufacturing capacity, 500 employees, and more than 140 engineers. As I opened, we've been on a mission to build a multi-domain ISR architecture. DZYNE clearly fills the gap that existed within that architecture and gives us a set of solutions that delivers a uniquely complete capability to customers globally. At the same time, the stratospheric layer is moving from an emerging capability to a required element in modern ISR planning, particularly as customers design integrated, multi-domain operating concepts. To make all of this work together, we previously announced our partnership with Palantir. There are 2 elements investors should understand. First, the operations layer built on Warp Speed and Foundry. With Palantir, we can rapidly integrate supply chain, inventory management, manufacturing, engineering, and financial reporting, so integration of our companies happens much sooner than would otherwise be possible. Second, the mission layer Skyweaver, which provides adaptive agentic AI and inferencing at the edge to deliver mission autonomy. Skyweaver is what converts the portfolio from a collection of capable platforms into an integrated intelligence system. It fuses data from stratospheric, aerial, and ground-based assets, reasons across those domains, and delivers correlated, decision-ready intelligence to the customer. For example, a Stratolite can provide wide-area surveillance and task fixed-wing UAVs like Ultra and Leap to track and target items of interest in a customer's area of responsibility without an operator engaging until an effect needs to be delivered. The result is faster decisions, more engagements, and fewer assets required to execute the mission. We believe we are the only provider offering persistent ISR across all 3 layers, stratosphere, air, and surface, in one portfolio. We do. I'd like to double down on what Matt shared about Ultra and Leap. What we've learned in recent conflicts is that combat air patrols require a new generation of affordable and attritable multi-mission ISR and targeting solutions. Long-endurance ISR represents a multi-billion-dollar annual Department of War spend. In Epic Fury alone, U.S. and partners lost more than $1 billion of ISR drones, making the legacy approach economically unsustainable. What's needed is for combat air patrols to be augmented with attritable systems that can operate in contested environments without giving the adversary a meaningful economic advantage. If we lose an Ultra in a contested environment, we can rapidly replace it without creating a disproportionate cost burden on the Department of War.
They're going right after AeroVironment's MQ-9 Reaper. You know, we lost 30 or so of those things in the Iran conflict, and they're about $30 million a piece. So like $1 billion just in these unmanned aerial legacy drones that we've been flying these Reapers around since like the Bush administration or something, you know, back in the Middle East. So.
All the way through engaging and eliminating it. With the addition of DZYNE's Drone Buster, Sawtooth, and IonStrike, we now have the full spectrum of counter-UAS technologies under one roof. Coupled with our AI-enabled software and the mobilization layer for deploying these systems in theater, we believe no other company can offer the full suite of counter-UAS technologies that Ondas can. I want to spend a moment specifically on IonStrike. The fundamental problem we face today is that the cost exchange ratio is broken. It costs the US and allied forces 2 to 3 times more to eliminate a threat than the threat itself costs to produce.
More than that, sometimes 10 times more.
The math. It delivers a capability that is on cost parity with the threat, meaning the cost to intercept and eliminate is now equivalent, rather than asymmetric in the adversary's favor. What DZYNE has built is the lowest cost, most capable effector in the market today, purpose-built to address Shahed 136 class threats, with approximately 360 miles per hour closing speed and approximately 40 kilometers engagement envelope, and 2 to 5 times lower cost per kill than alternatives. It is now our responsibility to rapidly scale this capability and evolve it into a family of low-cost interceptors that addresses not just the Shahed 136 threat, but every Group 3 plus threat category where the cost exchange ratio is broken. We are excited to bring this into the portfolio, excited to expand it from a single effector into a family of low-cost intercept solutions, and excited about the substantial addressable market this opens for Ondas. With that, I'll turn it back over to Eric.
Thank you, Ryan.
Go,
Now
Ryan.
let's talk about what this means to Ondas from a financial standpoint. This acquisition isn't simply
We're doubling
adding another
backlog. We're
revenue
doubling
stream.
revenues right
It
here, right
fundamentally
now.
changes the scale and earnings profile of Ondas. DZYNE is expected to generate approximately $190 million of revenue during 2026
This year.
and more than $300 million in 2027, providing a significant impact to Ondas growth while providing meaningful operating margin leverage to the consolidated financial model. Looking beyond this year, we expect DZYNE to deliver more than 80% compounded annual revenue growth from 2025 through 2028, making it one of the fastest growing businesses in our industry. There is significant visibility in these revenue targets provided by the robust $111 million in backlog and an active and growing pipeline currently measured at north of $1.5 billion. We believe this substantial growth will be driven primarily by two major product franchises. First is Ultra. Ultra is emerging as one of the most compelling long-endurance ISR platforms in the market. It offers
3
customers
days it can
persistent
stay in the air.
intelligence at dramatically lower acquisition and operating costs than legacy systems, and we believe it is exceptionally well positioned as a complement to the MQ-9 Reaper, which has a massive installed base and future combat air patrol architectures. The second hero system for DZYNE is the IonStrike, a next-generation interceptor. We continue to believe IonStrike represents one of the most important new counter-drone products entering the market. Modern warfare has made clear that defending against mass drone attacks requires autonomous interceptors capable of defeating threats at cost parity. IonStrike was purpose-built to solve exactly that problem. Beyond these flagship programs, DZYNE's broader counter-UAS portfolio provides recurring and highly visible revenue opportunities across handheld systems, including the Drone Buster, which is the only US-made GNSS spoofing system, vehicle-mounted systems, fixed site protection, and open mission software. Importantly, this growth is supported by a substantial backlog and the $1.5 billion customer pipeline, which provides us excellent visibility into what we believe will be a multi-year expansion cycle. Operationally, we have clear milestones ahead. Ultra deployments continue to expand. COCO ISR service offerings begin contributing meaningful recurring revenue. IonStrike production scales significantly as customer demand accelerates. Manufacturing capacity expands. And finally, we will implement Palantir, Warp Speed, and Foundry across the organization to improve production planning, supply chain management, and operational efficiency as we scale. Taken together, these milestones position the combined company for a very meaningful period of growth and a more robust outlook for long-term profitability. Of course, the acquisition of DZYNE also changes the outlook for Ondas. Based on our current operating plans, we are raising our 2026 revenue target to more than $525 million versus the $390 million target we announced in May. This includes contributions from both DZYNE and Omnisys, the acquisition of which closed in May.
You know we're
I
coming
am
in
very
higher than that,
happy
guys.
with the revenue and financial performance at Ondas. Our core plus strategic growth model is being executed by our operating teams extremely well, and those teams are getting stronger. As we've said repeatedly, our strategy has never been to assemble technologies
Good morning,
for the sake of
sir.
acquisition. Our objective has been to build a
Let's go.
larger autonomous systems company operating across operational domains and capable of winning larger programs, serving larger customers, and competing against much larger defense contractors. Scale matters. Scale enables investment, and scale improves manufacturing efficiency. Scale strengthens customer confidence, and scale creates better financial outcomes. Importantly, our backlog continues to expand and support the strong growth curve we are targeting. We entered the second quarter with approximately $457 million in pro forma backlog. During the quarter, we announced more than $150 million of additional orders. DZYNE will add an additional $111 million in backlog, and our recent acquisitions continue to strengthen long-term revenue visibility with high-growth technology platforms. We also expect our backlog to expand by $95 million upon closing the Cyberhawk acquisition, which we expect in Q3. Just as important, we continue to focus on expanding across 5 dimensions simultaneously. We're focused on capturing more and larger programs and serving more customers. We will continue to expand our strategic partner ecosystem and increasing our operational scale. And we're going to continue to drive post-merger integrations to leverage the substantial global footprint we have built across Ondas. To that point, our strategic acquisition program has been very successful and has clearly advanced our operational and financial models. I am particularly pleased to now have the strong U.S. footprint in place, which is essential to our success. We are well positioned to win with our customers. I expect us to moderate the acquisition pace in the second half and focus on driving growth and operating leverage across the company. We will provide more context on this during our Q2 conference call in August. To wrap the outlook, we believe Ondas has become one of the very few scaled independent autonomous defense companies in the industry. This is an incredibly valuable position, and we will continue to leverage that for the benefits of our customers, partners, employees, and of course, especially on behalf of our investors. I'll close today's presentation where we began. This transaction is about much more than acquiring another company. It represents another major step toward building what we believe will become one of the defining autonomous defense companies in the marketplace. Together, Ondas now possesses leadership positions across 4 of the fastest growing mission areas in defense: persistent ISR, aerial security, and counter-UAS, autonomous effects and precision strike, and unmanned ground vehicles. Across those mission areas, we now deliver an integrated architecture capable of helping our customers detect, understand, and defeat threats across multiple operational domains. We combine persistent sensing with intelligent software. We combine autonomous aircraft with autonomous effects. We combine electronic warfare with kinetic defeat. And we increasingly combine all of those capabilities into software-defined mission systems enabled by AI. We believe that architecture closely reflects where military doctrine is heading. Looking forward, our priorities are straightforward. Execute, integrate design successfully, continue delivering for our customers, scale manufacturing, expand recurring revenue, and continue investing in technologies that strengthen our competitive advantage. We believe the autonomous defense industry is entering one of the most significant growth cycles in decades. Ondas intends to be one of the companies that defines that future. I'd like to thank everyone who made this transaction possible, especially the outstanding teams at DZYNE and Ondas, whose dedication made today's announcement a reality. With that, we'd be happy to open the call for questions.
We will now begin the question and answer session. To ask a question, you may press star then 1 on your telephone keypad. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up your handset
Quite the acquisition.
before pressing the keys.
I just saw the price tag.
Yeah, man. I was just mentioning a few minutes ago, right before you came on, that this whole call here, I can't wait for you to listen to it a second time and let's dig into this deck really, because this whole acquisition was almost $1 billion.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I thought it's going to
Morning, gentlemen. Thank
positive EBITDA though, and a couple other things. So
I
had to look into that. But
let's check out these questions here,
and
then listen. I got to do some morning necessaries because this came on me kind of fast here. Glad you jumped on. Hey, we got a bunch of people watching already. I appreciate everybody taking those notices and checking us out. This is Ondas's most consequential acquisition to date, I believe, but it's just one in a long line this year. These guys have been planning this now for at least a year. All right. And I got a bone to pick with Eric now too. He called in on the show Sunday night and didn't mention a thing about this. Kept it top secret. All right.
I'll be right back, guys. Data, passing seamlessly from one company's product to another to, for example, Palantir, your partner, that's in widespread use across the COCOMs.
Okay, Sydney, thank you for your question. So firstly, we are in the early stages of a massive adoption cycle around unmanned and autonomous systems. And our thesis is that the market needs operating platforms to deliver battle-proven and mission-ready technologies. And those platforms need to be well capitalized. And the operating leverage I talk about, of course, is across the supply chain. It's a fuel services and support and sustainment, and it is across the integration of the technologies as you've described. So there's still quite a bit to do. The point we're making around the moderation of our MA plan is specifically towards demonstrating that these systems can be integrated in the field and are being integrated with customers, and that we are supporting them with a very robust operating platform, specifically around supply chain, production, and field support. Ryan, I'll ask you to expand a bit more on what we're doing on the software to integrate the systems and make them even more valuable in terms of solutions for customers.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. And Sydney, thank you for your question. Yeah, as you mentioned, Palantir is in wide use within the Department of War. I think what we learned in Epic Fury and other conflicts around the world, that most wars are run on Palantir Maven. Our approach is to design a new solution that we call Skyweaver. What Skyweaver is designed to do is create mission autonomy. What that means is creating platform autonomy and the command and control architecture that connects platforms so that we can be doing collections and tasking of those platforms through a software-defined architecture. Ultimately, what that means is the ability to detect something and then task another platform in the Ondas portfolio to either refine that surveillance of that target or ultimately deliver an effect. And that's where mission autonomy becomes key to the Ondas overall strategy. Skyweaver will be very different than any other AI-enabled, agentic AI-enabled autonomy solution that exists today. And we're hard at work in bringing Skyweaver to life. And with DZYNE, we're going to accelerate that work. We've got demonstrations that are upcoming, and then we're going to be doing an Ondas-wide rollout of Skyweaver before the end of the year.
Understand. And will that work with partner companies and with other people's products? Because the Defense Department is very big on avoiding vendor lock, avoiding proprietary systems that talk within a company's products portfolio but don't talk with other companies. Big problems those have been in the past. Are you going to try to avoid that?
Yeah, that's a great point, Sydney. And the intent with Skyweaver is for it to not be a proprietary solution within Ondas, but rather be a solution that can both ingest data from other platforms and provide tasking to other platforms. The last thing we want to do is to create a proprietary closed architecture that doesn't enable the Department of War to leverage all of the assets within their portfolio.
Thank you.
The next question comes from Austin Bolig with Needham. Please go ahead.
Austin!
Thanks, guys, for answering my question, and congrats on the
Austin
acquisition. So first, guys, just wanted to dive in to this $1.5 billion pipeline related to DZYNE. Could you?
Man, we got to get Austin to come on the show one Sunday night, huh?
I bet we can.
Driven, or is this including international opportunity? And then second, when you guys have a sense of how quickly this pipeline could be converted into backlog/revenues, is this a year, 2-year type of horizon?
It was on the slide.
All right, thank you, Austin. And clearly we're seeing a adoption curve beginning with both Ultra and IonStrike, and that pipeline also reflects the other platforms we discussed during the presentation. Ryan, I'll ask you and/or Matt to expand on the pipeline and what the cadence is in terms of capture.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for the question. So the pipeline that exists today is certainly largely driven by U.S. Department of War. And as Eric mentioned, we expect significant growth in IonStrike and Ultra.
This acquisition gives them a solution for Shaheed-style drones.
We expect to see a significant growth in the backlog for both IonStrike and Ultra through the remainder of this year. That fuels the greater than $300 million in revenue that we expect in 2027. Beyond IonStrike and Ultra, we do see demand across the entire DZYNE portfolio, and bringing that in with the worldview pipeline and backlog. We expect to see not just growth in the U.S. but globally. Allied nations, they see the same problem that we see within the Department of War: attritable mass, affordable mass. And the ability to deliver multi-domain ISR is an absolute requirement. And so, although it's largely anchored in U.S. Department of War, we see growth in the Indo-Pacific market, the European market, especially on the eastern flank, and then we expect to see additional growth in the Middle East.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. And then maybe like one follow-up here. If I remember correctly, I think on your guys' Q1 earnings call, you guys talked about getting to the OAS business profitability in Q1 of next year. With obviously Cyberhawk being adjusted EBITDA positive, this acquisition obviously adjusted EBITDA positive. How should we be thinking about timeline? Could that be pulled in Q4 of this year? Or should we still be kind of expecting kind of Q1 of 27 as when we hit that adjusted EBITDA milestone?
Yeah, so clearly this does improve our financial profile and is going to provide quite a bit of operating leverage to the financial model. I think I'll defer being more specific until our Q2 call, which we'll have in the first half of August. We'll lay out our objectives around.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, of course, for the whole company.
Throw us a bone.
Well, thank you guys. Best of luck.
What you talking about, A-bone, man? We just got a basket full of them this morning.
Yeah,
thanks, guys. Congratulations.
I just want some short-term relief.
I got about a dozen questions, and I'm not even really sure where to start. But
you're not the only one.
Just maybe at a really, really high level, can you talk about your autonomous or your AI capabilities? How much are you developing in-house, and how much are you relying on like Palantir? And just out of curiosity, the Palantir relationship, is that like an equity joint venture, or are you just paying them for services, or how is that structured?
Man, they're partnered up, and we are a customer of Palantir.
So,
we're paying them
we'll
for
talk
their...
about Skyweaver and Lados first, but then Skyweaver, and I'll defer to...
They always get hung up on Palantir because of the effect it can have on stock
dig
price.
in a bit more on
they're mentioned in
the development process. So
kind of
you think about our command and control capabilities at both the platform level and the integrated systems level at Ondas. Vis-a-vis the mission autonomy, where autonomous platforms of Ondas and third-party vendors are integrated in the field around mission autonomy again. As it relates to platform autonomy, all of our autonomous systems have a command and control capability. We describe that as LADOS, L-A-D-O-S. And, so for example, there, we'll deploy an Optimus, or deploy Iron Drone, or we'll deploy Centrix. And those systems can be remotely operated and controlled with this software architecture infrastructure. Then as we're bringing, say, Iron Drone and Centrix onto, say, a ground vehicle from RoboTeam, we begin to drive scale, and those systems can work in tandem, again, with this LADOS command and control software. And then, of course, Palantir, the work we're doing with Palantir on top of that with Skyweaver just expands that more broadly. And Ryan, do you want to describe the development work there?
Yep, happy to. Timothy, thanks for the question. So Skyweaver is a joint development program between Ondas and Palantir. The way to think about it is, we have all of the command and control architecture on the Ondas side, and we're focusing on evolving that command and control architecture to enable both platform autonomy and mission autonomy. And what Palantir brings to the table is the ability to connect this to Palantir ontologies and to their agentic AI capabilities to better deploy platform autonomy to create mission autonomy. On the Ondas side, we're responsible for both the hardware development and the command and control architecture, whereas Palantir is bringing the ontology and the connections to Warp Speed Foundry, and ultimately the ability to integrate with Maven. As I mentioned earlier, we're in the process of pulling the hardware and software together to start demonstrations here in the coming months. And then later in the year, we'll start rolling out Skyweaver across the Ondas portfolio. Skyweaver is more than just software. It includes hardware. So think of it as an agentic AI appliance to be deployed and integrated on Ondas platforms that runs both the platform autonomy and the mission autonomy for our overall strategy of connecting all of our systems to Department of War and allied nations command and control architectures, and ultimately bringing to life what I mentioned, mission autonomy.
Yeah, and I'll add, I want to talk about Palantir, but also I want to ask a question, or have Ryan address what I think you're going to ask next, Tim, around the revenue model, which specific to Skyweaver, but of course it's integrated with the platforms we're delivering at scale. So, but coming back to Palantir, the relationship we have with them is substantial. And it's really across 3 dimensions. So we have access to that full suite of Palantir's, what they call AIP, the Artificial Intelligence Platform. And that ranges from the warp speed type applications, the other software development work we're doing on top of Foundry. And in that work, Palantir is sending the forward deployed engineers, because there's a really deep dive and substantial collaboration with both our engineering teams and the experts at Palantir. So again, we have firstly full access to the entire suite of Palantir's AIP. Palantir is also supporting with Ondas in many instances the revenue capture, program capture. So engaging customers, which of course is really important. And then there's a strategic roadmap, and Palantir is very bullish. And the reason we first met Worldview and Ryan via Palantir, because Palantir shared our view that we need to bring scale to these across domains, to these subscale companies who are doing incredible work in developing the unmanned systems, developing the autonomy. But when you're going to deliver these technology platforms at scale, you need this integration. You need a scaled operating platform and a financial platform as well. And of course, Ondas is building that. So that's the Palantirs across technologies, across revenue and business capture, and strategic roadmap where we're mapping the acquisition programs to fill domains and integrate solutions. Ryan, talk a bit about, if you would, on the revenue models and business models that we're engaging with Skyweaver.
Yeah, happy to, Eric. So in the ISR market, there's a significant push for what we call GOCO and COCO, government-owned, contractor-operated ISR platforms, and then company-owned, company-operated ISR platforms. What's important to understand is, especially in the COCO model, it gives us the ability to introduce new technologies on a very rapid basis, and that's one of the ways that we're going to be introducing Skyweaver is through the COCO ISR services business model. But in addition to that, as I mentioned, Skyweaver is both hardware and software, and it gives us the ability to create recurring software revenues through the deployment of Skyweaver on both Ondas platforms, but also on other companies' platforms as well. We recognize that Skyweaver will be a very unique set of AI capabilities that enable other platforms to realize mission autonomy, like we will at Ondas. And so beyond the GOCO and COCO, we'll be expanding our product offerings to the overall ISR market and offering software services as well.
And so what's the model look like with Palantir? Is it a revenue share, or do they help you with the go-to-market? Yeah,
it's more of a go-to-market. So we're funding the development of Skyweaver, and therefore it's 100% an Ondas product and a software suite. But as Eric mentioned earlier, they're very bullish on the work that we're doing and are enabling a lot of the go-to-market activities through customer relationships, and by ensuring that our platforms connect to how wars are run today. As I mentioned earlier, especially Epic Fury was run on Maven. And so the ability to ensure that our platforms are fully integrated with Maven and leverage the ability to exploit ISR and targeting capabilities on Maven through Skyweaver is a very important point. And Palantir has been fantastic in just ensuring that the go-to-market strategy is one, sound, but two, highly executable.
And just a quick question maybe on the Blitz swarm technology in the box. So these drones, can they communicate with each other and share data? Can they act like a true swarm, or how far away are you from that capability?
Yeah,
Brian?
I'll turn it over to Matt McHugh to answer that question.
Yeah, absolutely. The Blitz product does run an autonomy layer on the vehicle and also back on the C2 system back through it. The current way that's employed is commonly through the ATAC system that's widely adopted by the Department of War for the on the edge at the ground level deployed unit piece of autonomy interface. And so the Blitz system operates a multi-mission capability where they can do heterogeneous swarms and various mission effects to make a more complex effect with a very scalable, simple product.
Thank you.
The next question comes from John Siegman with Stifel. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my question and all the great information on today's call. Question on Ultra. You did mention it could be at an inflection point on a program of record. Can you talk a little bit about the advantages relative to the Reaper? Is it actually more survivable, or is it just the lower cost that makes us able to afford to lose those? And what's the timing and potential size of that program? Thank you.
All right, Ryan. Thanks, John. Ryan, you can take this.
Yep, John, thanks for the question. So, as compared to a Reaper, the way that Ultra is positioned is to be complementary to Reaper. So it provides a very similar ISR capability, but with much greater endurance. As we mentioned earlier, it provides 3+ days of endurance. So what that ultimately means is fewer aircraft to operate within a combat air patrol and fewer aircraft in an overall sortie infrastructure. And so what we're seeing, and an Epic Fury was a great example of this, is that what the Department of War needs is something that is affordable and attritable. And so, when you look at both the acquisition cost and the operational cost of an Ultra, it is a small fraction of the cost of current Group 4, Group 5 assets. And so, the transition to a program of record is happening now. We'll be sharing details around that over the rest of the year. But it's really about being an augmentation to an overall combat air patrol to deliver a Group 5 ISR capability plus targeting. And to answer your question of, is the advantage, its comparison to Reaper, or is it, just the attritable nature of it? The answer is both. Obviously, we would want all ISR platforms to be survivable in the airspace, but in a contested environment, especially in the early days of a conflict, there has to be an economic approach that makes ISR sustainable until you get to a point of airspace superiority. And so Ultra provides both the marquee ISR capability while also providing an attritable asset that makes the economics of ISR more sustainable.
That's great. And then maybe on launch effects, is that a near-term programs that we can track, or is that something that needs to be defined by the customer and how they buy some of that? You mentioned a potential family of programs there. Thanks again.
Yeah, Eric, I'll take that one too if you want.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so launched effects, it's the
the franchise program, the hero program is IonStrike. There are requirements today that require an affordable launched effect, specifically against the Shahed class of threats. And so it's something that you can track over the rest of the year. There are requirements today. And as Matt mentioned in his portion of the presentation, DZYNE went from concept to a demonstratable product in 6 months. And so now we're responding to a significant number of RFIs, RFPs to field that capability. So I encourage you to watch as we grow that platform and or grow that capability and start fielding that system in the very near future.
Thank you.
The next question comes from Max Michaels with Lake Street. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my questions and congrats on the acquisition. Just two from me. First one, with Ultra and IonStrike scaling up next year. Can you help us give us an idea of what you expect revenue mix between the two business segments would be, and then as well as their margin profiles?
Sure. We're not giving that level of detail today on mix between IonStrike or Ultra, and remember we've got other systems as part of that revenue outlook as well, including the counter drone systems such as Drone Buster. In terms of margin profile, what we're seeing is the 40 to 50% on the gross margins, and of course we'll be working to scale those up to the extent we can. So that's the answer. And we'll give more details on not just the margins here, but of course across the company when we meet in August for the Q2 call.
Okay, and then last one for me, and maybe I missed it, but given IonStrike, it's more of the cost. It comes at a better price than sort of a Patriot or the NASAMS intercept units. And can you kind of help me understand sort of what that cost difference is?
Yeah, so it's what we're talking about is cost parity vis-a-vis the threat, and that threat is the next generation Shahed, also known as the 136, jet powered, moves very fast. And what you're trying to do is level the playing field vis-a-vis the adversary with a defense that is at cost parity and can perform, and that's what we have built here with IonStrike. Ryan, would you add anything to that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, the foot stomp here is cost parity to the threat. And as we build out a family of systems built around the IonStrike, that will always be the focus, is creating low cost effects with a focus on parity or greater. Greater meaning that the intercept is less than the cost of the threat.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense. Thank you.
The next question comes from Matthew Galinko with Maxim Group. Please go ahead.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my question. Really was just curious about whether this was a competitive process, and I guess for DZYNE, why now is the right time to go this route, and I guess why Ondas? Thank you.
Sure. So, there was a process here, and it was competitive. At the same time, I think it's fair to say that Ondas brought a lot to the table that made us particularly competitive as a acquirer of the company. As you can see through the conversation today, that DZYNE has built an exceptional business. Technology, talent, the go-to-market capability, the work they've done to start to build a scalable supply chain and production capability. And I think so Jeff Hall, who's the president and CEO of Highlander, as you looked at the outlook here, I think he, like many folks in our industry, are looking at how this industry is going to evolve. And I think it's fair to say that we're seeing that platform companies like Ondas that can bring capital and scale across multiple domains, which of course feeds into a competitive advantage vis-a-vis supply chain relevance, customer relevance, the ability to support in the field. I think it's very compelling. As we mentioned in and it was in the press release, the Highlander folks are very bullish on the combination. They really like what they've done in design. They see a very strong ramp there, and they think that's going to have a very strong impact on the combined company at Ondas. So they're very happy to be shareholders and continue to participate in the upside. So I think, Matt, that's the way you're going to see this market evolve. There's been an incredible amount of work, in terms of developing technology platforms that have extreme relevance. They're now operational. They're hardened. They're very incredibly useful, and in fact, even more so, they're essential. And how we deliver these technologies is going to be very important. And I think pursuing the scaled operating platform that Ondas is, really made us a compelling partner for Highlander and the management team at DZYNE.
Great. Thanks.
I think he just said that DZYNE picked Ondas. Competitive process. They could have sold to probably, any number of legacy primes,
Marks.
Sure. Thank you, operator. I'll try to be brief. But to wrap up, I want to say that acquiring DZYNE is about much more than just adding another product line or two or three. It's really about positioning and continuing to advance the position of Ondas at the center of a massive, and what is ultimately going to be a once-in-a-generational technology transformation across global defense.
Platform company.
We're combining persistent intelligence, autonomous aerial systems, counter-drone platforms, precision strike, and of course, we're layering in AI-enabled mission software. We're bringing this in a single platform, and as we layer these essential capabilities. And our job here today, of course, now is to execute, support our customers, and continue to build a platform that creates long-term value for both national security across our allied nations, but of course, with the shareholders front and center as well. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you again for joining us. We're going to go back to work, and I hope you have a great day.
Back to work. I heard that, man. What do you think, JT? Can I hear you?
How about now?
No, yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There you go.
I was going to say the financial profile is definitely exciting. I mean, this is a massive company. They've got a lot of money coming in, potentially with those IonStrike platforms. It looks like it's going to be able to be integrated with the Ondas Sentinel program and with Worldview quite well. Now we need an execution on those orders, and we need to see those orders. Looks like right now the market is really just not caring about the meeting right now, but I'm not worried about that. Obviously, the Shahed drone is something that there needs to be, an actual counter for that's cheap. You can't be launching like ballistic missiles and things at it. That's economically very, very bad. So I'm definitely bullish on this. I think it is a good thing. I think it's something that is going to be important. But I really want to see additional information on it. And I think checking out the DZYNE Technologies or the DZYNE.com website with all the Ondas Sentinel information will be important. I think we should actually open that up right now on the stream.
Absolutely.
I can share my screen here. Because I woke up and essentially just found out about this. So in terms of preparation, this is all new to me too. So I'm trying to actually parse this out in my brain and make some good.
I'll be honest. I read the report. I mean, I read the news release, and I get down through the first few paragraphs, and I put the details off till later, and I jumped on After Hour and did a post about it. And it wasn't until I sort of sat down and got ready for our meeting that we normally have at 9 o'clock when the market opens, for 0 hour group stuff. And I fed the whole news release into Claude. The first thing Claude came back with was, the little bullet points. One of the bullet points was they're having a call at 8:30. I was like, what? And so I jumped on, try to get your attention. And, that's one disadvantage from being there in the heartland, Minnesota, huh? When things happen on the East Coast at 7:30, that's bright and early for you guys. Our California buddies might still be sleeping through this right now.
I bet they are. I was looking at something here. Do you remember? So just looking at the video, right? The video on the screen. you can see they have like the anti-drone busters, right? Like the handheld ones, and they're going to be able to use those with Centrix to actually detect and disable. And then they have other platforms like Iron Drone mixed with the IonStrike stuff for actually mitigating Shahed things. What I'm curious about is, do you remember what? Let me pull up this screen too. There was a Instagram video I saw that was about Trump at the golf course, and there was a guy with like a sci-fi looking weapon, with him, and it was actually a counter drone system. So
right. Oh yeah.
I actually want to.
Yeah, that fella. I think he was riding the back of the golf cart or something.
Yes.
Was holding it down, sort of like a rifle. You might hold a rifle or a shotgun.
I got it right here. I got a picture of it.
There you go.
I want to see if that actually is like a DZYNE Technologies counter drone system, because that would just be interesting. It's a little conspiracy theory, but I definitely want to look into this more today, and I'll 0 Hour Group and HGR, of course, will have a post about this today, going over everything with this acquisition, our thoughts. Once we have some time to actually parse out the website. But overall, very excited. I think a lot of us as investors are having acquisition fatigue, which makes sense with this strategy. So any investor out there, definitely feel you there. But I do think that they are executing properly on this with what they're doing. In the short term, it does hurt the investor who's been in for a while. Maybe not us who got in sub $1, but people who got in around 10. It's rough, but I think that this is the strategy that is actually going to turn them into like an American defense prime. Because I would say right now they're maybe a Israeli prime, maybe a neo prime, but this is going to bring them to the next level, I think, because they don't. There's not the infrastructure here, right? There's not the infrastructure to actually counter these threats, and we are going to see a flywheel and an expansion of technologies needed like this that we haven't seen before, right? I mean, you've seen what the drone market looks like in terms of growth from 2025 to 2030. Obviously, there needs to be counter-UAS stuff in space.
Right. Even more so.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of like the older primes are here. Ondas is going and trying to essentially leapfrog, right, the competition by acquiring the system of systems approach to actually go in and stop these threats. And I think, in Europe especially, is going to be one of the primary benefactors of ONDS technology that we're seeing, this technology stack that's being created. And that's where it's more relevant right now, right? I mean, we don't have these domestic threats yet with like drones flying. We don't have rogue Russian drones coming in. There needs to be infrastructure there now. And maybe in America, there needs to be infrastructure in like 5 years, right? But there's not going to be another, 9/11-esque incident probably with like an airplane. It's going to be a drone. So we definitely need UAS technologies in space, and I think this DZYNE acquisition is going to be very important. And obviously, I mean, you see it on top of like the Yahoo Finance article. It's going to push the EBITDA positive. It looks like financial wise, it's going to be very good. And then they have a growing backlog. So I think this is going to be a huge revenue expansion for Ondas going forward. And obviously, I'm very happy about it. I wish the market would actually price that in a little bit, but all we can do is, I guess, take this as a gift, keep our DCA going, at least for me, is what I'm doing, and kind of waiting for this to play out. But I think it's a very clear 3x from here, at least, probably by 2027. I still think $20 by 2026 is my price target. So, and I think that's kind of the analyst consensus too. So yeah, obviously
they're right up in the mid-20s.
What about you?
Yeah, they're right. The analysts. They're all the way up into the mid-20s. Last time I checked. But this idea of Ondas's roll-up strategy and the execution risk, and all they're doing is diluting and acquiring and diluting. To me, the bear's got to come up with something, and it's hard to accept that a company is going to come on the scene and have a vision for the technology adoption cycle that Eric has talked about for so long, and then start realizing that, we're not going to build this from scratch. This isn't like a Lockheed Martin that used to be Lockheed and it used to be Martin. And before that, who knows what it was, however many, smaller entities that rolled up into what are now these legacy defense primes. But to be able to see the future and prepare for it the way I think Eric has with Ondas and the way that they have built out this system of systems approach, I think it's really smart. Like I said, the Bears got to come up with something. This critique about, it's the critique du jour of, all they're doing is diluting and buying companies. You're not listening to what he's been telling us for over a year. This DZYNE acquisition is the latest in a long line this year. I don't know how many we got, 8 or 10 of them now. Everything from the Mistral acquisition right on through to this one. But they've just been stair-stepping their way right on up. They're in the room now with the Lockheed Martins. We got a partnership with Lockheed Martin on one of their counter-UAS platforms with Centrix, right? So it's tough for the Bears, I think, to accept that we got somebody that is building a legacy, a central. And in fact, I think I heard Eric use the term for the first time in this meeting here. Maybe he's used it in the past, but a real platform company, right? That the government can turn to for not just one little piece of the puzzle, but the whole stack. And, we're going to dive in deep. I think we're going to really get into this call here and the deck they put out for it. They identified a blank spot, right? Or a missing spot in that ground stratosphere ISR capabilities, right? Especially these loitering long duration ISR capabilities. But there's another gap that they didn't bring up in the call, but it's right there on the very top, and it's called space. And that to me would be the very next natural acquisition or merger for Ondas, would be to add the satellite capability through some provider or other company out there. I'm just kind of throwing that out there for what's coming next. The idea that the team at Ondas has been slowly building out. They're worldwide. We just doubled them in employees with this acquisition. I think we were around 500 employees before now, and DZYNE has got 500 employees plus all of the facilities, and I think I heard 300,000+ square feet of manufacturing space. So Eric's putting all the parts and pieces together, not just for one company, not just for one product or one aspect of what the military, the government, or commercial enterprises might need in the way of drones and counter-UAS and surveillance, reconnaissance, all of these capabilities. He's putting in the whole system of systems. The Lockheed Martins, the Northrop Grummons, they better look out. There's maybe there's going to be an Ondas, another merger in the future here, but we're not looking at a neo prime in the making. We're looking at the next prime in the making for this military industrial complex. My opinion is there's a reordering happening. The legacies aren't going anywhere. They're big boys. They got a lot of power, from Boeing to Lockheed Martin. But if you look at this slide, all the slides in this deck here, and look at the DARPAs and the TAMs and just the organization that they are building here. Eric's done really, really well applying his skills on the investor side of the table as a hedge fund manager, working, starting out as an accountant, building this team of experts. I don't doubt that. Eric's well informed, but he doesn't know how these balloons go up in the air, or how the robust communications can talk to each other in electronically warfare challenged environments. But he's built a team around him and around this company. The CEO I mentioned in a post this morning, is a retired Army general. All right, he knows what the armies need all over the world, and that's exactly what they're putting together is a package for the Western civilization, the changing in the paradigm of how wars are going to be fought. Militaries everywhere, they're not going away, but they have to deal with this drone threat of all shapes and sizes. And that's exactly the challenge that Ondas is meeting. So I say
they're definitely creating the one-stop shop. I would say that.
Exactly.
I mean, now we have handheld
one-stop shop.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear the strategy is they're going for it all or going for none of it. I mean, with the acquisitions, with everything that's going on, they want to have a piece of the market cornered. And I think it's very clear from our conversations with Eric in person that there's going to be maybe 5 of these small cap companies, maybe 10 that actually get out of here in the next 5 years and actually succeed, and the rest are all going to fail because there's just not going to be enough demand, or the primes lead it up. So I think right now it looks like, in my opinion, I believe they are going to succeed. I think they run a very tight ship, but obviously the market is holding its breath due to this, being a logistical nightmare with having so many subsidiaries and combining into one concise business unit. I mean, that's obviously kind of what's going on here in terms of the stock price, because it is going to be difficult, right? I believe Eric's going to be able to do it, but it's never going to be easy to combine so many different, so many different companies, right? And then push them into one entity and then have them flow, especially at the pace that these acquisitions are happening.
Yeah.
They have been collecting quality. So, I mean, I don't have any doubts with it, obviously. Obviously, I have a lot of money invested on this, and it's a company that I believe is going to succeed. And I do believe in the story, but I understand why the market is hesitant, because they need to see execution of these acquisitions, and then also of being able to roll out the backlog, and the backlog's massive. So I think they're gonna be able to do it, though. I think this is a storm that's gonna get battered. We're gonna get through it, though, and I think this is still potential $20 stock by the end of 2026.
Man, from your lips to God's ears there. That is for sure. But for me, it's a matter of when, not if. There's
I agree.
They're focused on where they're heading. They're not worried about where they are right now. We talked about this last acquisition they did. What was that? The Omnis deal.
And to be clear, I'm not either. I mean, I'm full bull on ONDS. I just want to give an objective view of why, I think, because it's like, we get all this good news, yet the stock price is down. I mean, we're down in the 7s right now, and I think that's the reason why. But obviously, I think this is a fantastic buying opportunity for ONDS, because I do see it, going back to double digits and then all-time highs here. But in the short term, I want to make sure that people who maybe don't look at the stuff, every day, that their fears are at least, explain why I think it's down now, but why I think it's going to go up. I want to make sure that people know that, and the retail investors who, they're not in these meetings with us every day to kind of understand what's going on. I want to make sure that they have a clear idea of what we're thinking and why we think that.
No doubt about it on that. And I always tell folks to scale in. I was I had to have a thing done at the outpatient place here a couple of weeks ago, and got to talking. My wife works there. Got to talking with some of the nurses about their investments, and they started asking me about some stocks or whatnot. And I gave out the recommendations, but it's always a scale in. Learn about this company. Make sure you got your own conviction with it. Don't just say because some guy on a gurney here tells you they're a good stock pick.
Always do your own research.
right.
Not financial advice.
But it's also good to I mean, because like you just pointed out, people can't be paying attention to this every day. They've got lives to lead, and their own careers and everything else going on. But the opportunities to for retail, for regular folks to be informed on these emerging companies that are changing the world is it's never been better, and it's one reason that we're here. But all good points there, my friend.
I mean, the amount of products these guys have is very impressive. This acquisition was massive, right? $875 million, which is, I think their biggest one before that was maybe like 400, 500.
Well, that's
so
what
they have a huge suite of stuff to go over. I'm very excited to kind of look into. Each piece, which I'm doing kind of passively on the stream on the side here for everyone. But I mean, They have a great backlog. It looks like good book. I mean, the fact that it's going to swap them positive EBITDA as well, fantastic. And then all the backlog apparently that's going to come in for people wanting this IonStrike platform under DZYNE. Also very bullish, and how that's going to come combined with Worldview, and then Ondas's other subsidiaries with like Centrix, and then like American Robotics with the Iron Drone. It's going to be very interesting.
You know what you were just bringing up though, and I got off on a tangent there. Just about being eyes wide open, and realistic about things, and certainly considering all sides, or being aware of all sides. Personally, though, I do think that the market is, it's down the way it is now for some other reasons besides just this execution risk, right? There's a lot of people that have made a lot of big bets on Ondas, acquired huge long positions. So naturally, with that kind of money playing around, they're playing games on the hedging side in the options market and whatnot. But
100%.
I do think though that and this is a good sign, I think, that Ondas and Eric is sort of sensitive to this, right? Even though they've been telling us for quite some time that this has been their plan, right? And obviously these big billion-dollar acquisitions, they don't happen overnight. They just start figuring out here, after the first quarter, hey, let's do a deal and have it done in 3 months. So this has all been part of a master plan and strategy. But I think that Eric is very sensitive to some of the overriding criticisms about the dilution or whatnot, because the Omnisys deal was mostly cash, right? And they paid for that, like by my count, about 10% of the cash you got in the bank, right? And then here, this one is a combined acquisition, stock and cash, and they were sure to note right there in the first half of the press release how like over half of the shares are locked up for 6 months, right? Kind of a lot.
I saw that. That was very nice to see for the investors. And also I think they're going to be very happy with the share price as it is right now and what that could be in 6 months anyway. So I think it's a little bit of a win-win.
I think that's him, Eric, being sensitive, to some of the issues you brought up, and what the market is looking at is obvious. It's all over everywhere. Anytime I make a post now, I got somebody comes out of the woodwork, says, what aboutism? What about this?
Every time.
What about that? But hey, the market loves a story as much as it likes a fat contract. And at some point here soon, I think Eric is an expert. He's shown a track record of under promising and over delivering. That we're going to see some major organic contracts. They hinted at one in the call today. Hinted at one Eric called a platform of record, right? Or a program of record, a joint development with Skyweaver and Palantir. They got asked about that. They never really came up exactly what they were talking about. Just a sort of a general discussion of how they're going to use Palantir's software and Foundry and Warp Speed and whatnot to integrate Skyweaver in with all these physical platforms or whatnot. But if we go back and listen to the tape, which we will, and we'll have some highlight reels for this for folks coming up.
I thought we'd maybe check out some of these videos quick live on these kits that they have and kind of see what they look like. I think it'd be kind of fun to view those live. Also, we got over 120 people in here. I think actually a couple more on other platforms. So thank you guys all for coming out, and make sure to give us a follow and a like if you do like this kind of content, want to see more, because the production value for 0 hour is just going to keep getting better.
Right on. I got I'm expecting another call from Eric anytime now. I've done sent him about 3 texts this morning.
He's got to be getting so. I mean, he's got to be so busy. With that, all the analysts got called. It's like, hey, you got to come on. We got this call, a special investors call on short notice.
Yeah, I got the message. Eric has his notifications silenced. I'm like, he never has them silenced, but I could listen to him during the call, while it was going on. So he's forgiven there, but. Yeah, we're going to get in front of Eric real soon here for some in-depth stuff, and this is definitely. I mean, this would to have it. This just one acquisition would be worth a week of podcast. We might
have to contact DZYNE too, see if we can maybe get in and check out some of their stuff, talk with some of their higher ups for for some actual demo tests.
Right.
But yeah, we'll have to see this. I think this is one of our other first videos playing on here. So let me know if the audio's too loud. But let's check this one out. This is the counter-UAS DTIM kit. So this one looks like it is the handheld one.
Right on.
Oh, that's very loud. How's that for audio, Benny?
No, go ahead and turn it up. I can't even hear it now. Perfect. Like some kind of microwave tool or something, you know, a little portable electronic warfare.
Yeah, I think it was in that system. There's like 4 different pieces of it. I think it said, detect, track, identify, and mitigate.
Yeah.
And today, so it looks like it's already in use, of course, with the armed forces, which is, great for backlog revenue and then use case. And I think it's very cool too, just looking at this, that there is like a mobile kit. And I bet that they're going to have Centrix systems deployed in the mobile kit. Because we know anything about Centrix, we know that they already have a mobile kit too. So you're getting like these system of systems approaches where, man, I mean, you could have a car with the full design package. Each operator has their specific counter drone gun, right? Then you have the Centrix Cyber over RF in the back with more design products, which we're going to have to get to in the back. And then you have maybe an autonomous UGV, right, from Robo Team carrying a couple Iron Drone Raiders. And you have like a full strike force of everything you need to counter any kind of drone threat. It's like, oh my god, like the writing's on the wall, right? I mean, there's going to be, you have like a tank crew now, right? In the future, you're going to have like a UAS crew potentially, maybe going along and supporting like armored vehicles like that. So I think the sky's the limit with what they're building. And now we're going to see them, actually deploying these products and proving the proof of concept. And when that happens, I think it's going to be, absolute floodgates for the market. And I think eventually we're going to see short interest drop once there is that proof of concept, because they're going to need to get out, or you could see one of the largest short squeezes you've ever seen in terms of the short interest versus how many shares are outstanding and then the float. So it's going to be very interesting. And obviously, videos like this are very cool, kind of just seeing how they might work. So that was one of the videos. I think there was quite a few. I'm gonna have fun kind of later offline playing around with this website and seeing everything there is, because they put a lot of work into this and there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Eric just gave us a lot of work to do, didn't he?
He did, but I've been having off on vacation. I was up at the cabin for the 4th of July, so I'm kind of actually ready to get down and get into some work. So I'm kind of excited actually to go into this and produce some content. I think this is a different one. Yeah, it is.
All right, y'all watch that. I'll be right back. At least got a good marketing department, eh?
Yeah, that's for sure. Something cool I saw in here was I know on the call we had like swarm capabilities come up, and I thought this is pretty cool that said in here something about, right here, monitor up to 30 drones simultaneously. So obviously I think I think they're using some sort of like microwave content, like you had said, actually just like fry circuitry. I'm assuming that's what this is. So obviously it looks like you shoot, at one drone or maybe there's two drones. You can take those out, but then you're going to need like Centrics and then other platforms on the side to actually like counter a swarm. But in terms of kind of what's going on right now with swarm technology being like the next thing, I think this is just one of the best solutions you could have in terms of just a mobile command unit for actually stopping these things. And then you also have like physical setups, or not setups, stationary setups, at your bases, forward operating bases, things like that, with like Centrix technology and some iron drone pods and whatnot to stop that. So this might be, the software acquisitions are great. Software is high margin, and those are awesome to see. But this is one that's actually going to be used in the field, where we're going to be able to track the backlog much easier than say like software contracts. And we're actually going to be able to like see them, winning tenure and things. So I'm very excited just to get more information, more background on this. I did also check on the thing to see which product that was being used for what the Mar-a-Lago golf course COS. Right. That was Drone Shield. That was Drone Shield's handheld. So we'll have to see if DZYNE can compete with that, which I believe they definitely can. Just on a couple of things I'm seeing. But it's like, okay, anything currently that Trump's touching is turning to gold. So it's like, I want him to be touching some DZYNE. I want to see him touching some Ondas. And I think, maybe we'll see some UMAC investments. If that happens, we know who owns a piece of that. So
yeah, we need a buy Ondas tweet.
Oh man, that would make my year. Let me tell you. Yes, please. Yes, please.
We need a Eric Brock visit to the Oval Office.
He is. He's only about 10 minutes away or something, or
Bring
maybe
him a
less
little
than that.
toy golden drone, whatever works,
Whatever works.
Yeah, but like we talked about last week or two, someone asked a comment, about I think the best technology overall is going to win. There's too much at stake here. A few months ago, one what would be a rifle team. In terms of number, it was half a dozen trained drone operators from Ukraine that decimated an entire battalion in a NATO war game. We cannot project power and use the military, put them out there in harm's way without giving them the tools to protect themselves from this drone threat. And right now, the Ukrainians and the Russians are the world's foremost experts on this technology. They're the ones using it for life and death purposes every single day. So I'm glad that we are studying it. I'm glad that we got companies like Ondas. I think I heard, don't even know these guys' names yet.
DZYNE.
Yeah, DZYNE guys' names yet, but one of them was talking about the GoCo, the government-owned contractor-operated platforms, and then the corporation-owned contractor-operated platforms. This ISR, it's not just for the military to see and shoot and kill things. It's it's also that ISR for all of the public infrastructure. For governments around the world, all the private infrastructure. Think about that Middle East and all of the oil refineries and fertilizer factories and aluminum plants that are right there, directly threatened by by rogue actors, rogue states, and we can't defend against that without this kind of technology and without these tools and without these companies doing what they're doing. But he said something on that call when he was talking about the GoCo and the CoCos and but how that they were able to introduce tech. They were designing this stuff and introducing new tech on a rapid basis, and I believe that directly comes out of. I wrote it down here with a question mark. Result. This would be my question when we get in front of them. Is that rapid iteration culture that is starting to permeate the whole infrastructure defense industrial base, right? We've talked before about designing things as prototypes and then charging the government to go design a whole production line and the way it gets built. that's out the window. We can't afford that time anymore. Russia and Ukraine are showing the importance of this fast iteration of what works, throwing out what doesn't, trying new things. For Ukraine, it's been a life and death struggle. They've developed these drones and autonomous and ballistic missiles, even, or long range cruise missiles, that Flamingo. So like you pointed out earlier, particularly in Europe, that Flamingo thing can run 800, 1,000 kilometers. But you draw a radius of 1,000 kilometers around Ukraine, and you realize immediately, if you're in Europe, how important it is that Ukraine went and that territory not come under Russian control.
And the other thing with that is how expensive it is, right? Because I mean, if we know the U.S. government specifically, outside of F-35s and planes and whatnot, they like cheap, they like reliable.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a reason the M4 was with the standard rifle for so long. Of course, I want to bring on like an actual military expert or veteran at some point. I don't want to.
I got one in mind.
I know. Well, okay, perfect. Well, I don't want to act like I know everything with that, but obviously it's pretty easy to see that they like cheap, they like reliable, they want it to work, and they want it to be mass producible. So what we saw with the drone dominance gauntlet was that I think Stryker, it was. I don't remember which one won, but the thing was, you saw that they were number one, right, for the gauntlet, but they failed to actually produce any units yet. So you can have the best product, but you need the supply chain to actually create it. I mean, you look at World War II. World War II was won because the Allies had a very, very strong supply chain intact, while the Axis powers didn't have access to oil. That's why Germany invaded Russia. They needed those oil fields. They didn't get them. Their war machine, while they had good technology, actually failed because they couldn't keep supply lines open. They couldn't keep their Tiger tanks fueled. They didn't have enough manpower. That's the key to warfare. I mean, you got to keep your soldiers fed. You need products that work, and you need to make sure that you can keep making more products, right? Think of the Sherman tank. That they just kept rolling those out. They won through numbers, not necessarily through having the better technology. So I think it's very clear that Ondas is kind of building that. They're creating this infrastructure, this American-built infrastructure in that drone belt, right in the south, with like connections with PW, UMAC, LightPath. That's actually going to allow them to mass produce and create these units that are actually needed for the demand that we're going to see. So I think they're going to win out in that respect. And the writing is just, I mean, it's on the wall. And now it looks like we're getting a little bit of respect this morning in terms of stock appreciation for Ondas as people are starting to parse this information. But I would say with this, fortune favors the bold. Mr. Brock's strategy is definitely bold, and I think they're executing on it well. And I mean, I love that they have these, this live stream, the video, the website, to really give investors, okay, this is what we're doing. We're using this money that was given to us to do this. This is the vision. I think that's very important for, everyone, analysts, investors, people that are actually understanding, what are we actually doing with this money that we're taking in. And I think we actually have one more video to watch here too, if you want to check it out. Oh, different thumbnail. We already saw that one. There's so much stuff on this website. I don't know what I have watched and what I haven't.
Man, it's a slick looking website too.
It looks great. Looks like Madison's Zero Hour Group website.
I was looking back through LinkedIn earlier, and I've been reading a little bit here and there about how do you say it again? DZYNE?
DZYNE, I believe.
DZYNE. All right. So DZYNE. Okay. All right. Yeah. Here and there, but man, this was flying under the radar for such a large acquisition. Yeah. I'm going to pick that bone with Eric, man. He could have dropped some kind of hint, like.
I don't think the SEC would have liked that.
Right.
He's like, I actually have to acquire this company. Enjoy. I don't think that would be good. Zero Hour Group's reporting insider information.
What good is it knowing the boss?
I think we might be in a little bit of trouble there. Come after us for sure. I'm trying to get some more information.
It's great following along. It's great knowing him, but it's also like he said before, he's been on this side of the table as an investor. His whole investment portfolio was wrapped up in Ondas for quite a long time. So Yeah. Anyway, he's pulling it off. I think we're watching it watching it happen right here, right in front of us.
And I was gonna also say, just like looking at this slide, I mean, we're already DZYNE's already active in 50 countries.
Yeah,
3,000 units. So this is the other thing too, is they're not acquiring like some random R&D companies. They're acquiring companies with an active consumer base, a backlog, and a proof of concept that's already there.
Yeah,
if they were just throwing money at the wall, like AI companies, for example, just throwing millions and millions and millions into AI development, and you don't know if there's revenue on the other side. That's hard. This is what we have. We have actual revenue. We have a use case. Defense, typically does pretty well regardless of market conditions because the budget's still there. Taxes are there. Taxes are eternal. They're going to fund. They're going to fund defense. So it's not like something like Lululemon, right, where you're going to see that fall if the market's really tight because people don't have money for consumer clothes. Also, more stuff coming in. I'm about to have something go across the screen that I saw in the Substack chat that you're gonna like as well, Benny.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We're working on the technology, folks. Really appreciate the big crowd today too. We're working on the technology, so doing this thing across platforms gets a little complicated. It's got Zero back there scratching his head and pulling out the 2 hairs he's got left, trying to make it all work. But to,
we have a producer now.
Get us all of the chat rooms all into one thing, you'd think it would be a simple deal, but it's not all that easy. Then on top of that, you got my old butt trying to figure out this stuff, and that's a challenge all on its own right there.
Well,
Kurt just said, Trump just mentioned
50.
the power of drones. Yeah.
On a live presser. So now we're hearing that. I mean, you got to think, were these things, simultaneous? Is something going on behind closed doors? Did Eric know that Trump was going to, talk today? I mean, they're very close to Mar-a-Lago over there, so you never know.
You have to look and see
there's
what
time to buy on this now. Maybe Trump's gonna make a little investment on us because it's feet down.
Yeah, do a tour.
Oh man, I wouldn't. My ON deal wouldn't mind that.
Good to see Michael Murray and Alan Evans and Eric Brock and the guys from Worldview and DZYNE now and Alex Karp all sitting around in the Oval Office there in front of the fireplace, right, having a little chat about drones and autonomy.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. I mean, that's where it's going. We're just screaming from the rooftops. I mean, I think it's going to be a completely different, environment by 2027. But we're early. But I think now is the time to position, at least for me personally. So,
right.
HGR, ZHG, that's kind of the message we're putting out there. That's what we're seeing. Kirk was also saying, looks like he was talking about Ukraine, how drones are the future. No specific names mentioned yet. He's got to get positioned before he mentions the specific names.
Right.
But there is.
Look for him to push Ondas down a little bit. All right. So, we got to get the fellows in Washington some good prices.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see that. I mean, there's the synthetic hedging, but those warrants are still there at 20 and 28. So,
right.
Long term, I mean, not worried. I think it's a when, not if for 20, and then further than that, I think we can go. We're just going to see how the margins expand, see how theater of war changes with drones. Obviously, that seems kind of like the new airplane, the World War I, where that changed things at the end with scouting, and I guess World War I maybe it was more the tank. World War II, I'd say, was the plane. But it's exciting, and now I think it's the drone. Move to more autonomous fighting as per boots on the ground. So
that's the real big deal is the autonomous nature of the uncrewed systems, whether they be in the air, on the ground, surface, subsurface, and increasingly they're wanting to go underground, literally boring tunnels, Civil War style, right?
And what does the world revolve around? It's money. And right now you're having these, $50 million tanks destroyed by a $200 drone.
Yeah.
Even you have America launching, was it cruise missiles or Tomahawk missiles to take down
Tomahawks are $2 million a piece.
Yeah, I was going to say these Shahed drones are cheap, and we're just launching millions of dollars of missiles. And that war, I mean, obviously we have a strong, war economy, but that's just needless waste. There needs to be a better solution for that. That's more cost effective. I mean, this war cost Americans, the taxpayers, billions and billions and billions of dollars. And it looks like we're hopefully the strait opens up, but we're not seeing too much change there. So I mean, we just used a lot of money for potentially nothing. So there needs to be a better solution, and I'm hoping with this IonStrike capabilities with DZYNE that Ondas might be one of the first companies to come out with a proper counter to that drone. That's a cheap price, and it would be a great thing to have in any country's armory.
Yeah, and it needs to be deployed at scale. You need it for the small units, operating all out there by themselves. You need it for the command posts. You need it for the supply lines, miles and miles behind the front line, the zero line. That's the difference between
the 0 hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, it's exciting. Okay. I think that was all the videos I had. I'm just looking for questions. If anyone's got questions, now is the time. We can talk about it. Obviously, this is breaking news for us. We're trying to bring you guys live breaking news when we can, when we see it. Benny orchestrated that, so Benny's always on it.
Man, I never sleep. I only get a series of naps, so I was able to catch it. And
actually, I was bleary-eyed. I was like, "What happened?"
Huh?
I was bleary-eyed from getting back. Everybody's like, "We're live." I'm like, I'm coming. Yeah. I'm like, "We got new news. We have a live." I was like, "Is this the recording of the earnings call?" He's, "No, it's live special meting." I'm like, "Let's go."
I was trying to get out of my pajamas, call you, make another cup of coffee, get lined up on the webinar webcast, open up the live stream, wake Zero up, had to get him up out of bed too. So, you young guys, man, y'all stay up late. And anyway,
Zero's
I don't get location anymore. I just get a series of naps, right? But anyway, it paid off. It worked out this morning. I appreciate everyone showing up too. That was a nice surprise there on what is it, Monday morning?
Monday morning.
Ondas
so do you have Zero sitting in an undisclosed bunker, or where is he located? Do we not know? Is it classified?
Who's that?
Zero.
Yeah,
is he like in an undisclosed bunker somewhere?
He comes by once in a while.
Was he in the walls?
Don't ask me, man. Yeah.
We'll have to keep his identity secret, but we'll have to bring him on the show sometime for a little interview. He'll need a voice changer probably with what he's been doing in the past. So we'll see.
Well, yeah,
they're after him.
We might want to have an arm's length on that. We'll have to wait and see how it works out. See how he cleans up too.
We'll if we see it, what did he say the first time we saw him? If we knew his identity, he'd have to get us. I don't want to say the K word on stream, but he'd have to come get us. So I'm happy we have him on. Looks like Belzebub said, "I have all of my savings on Ondas. 2027 is the year." Well, for all of our sakes, I hope you're correct. Maybe that'll be like the Intel trade where that person, put all of their grandma's inheritance into Intel when it was like 25, and then it went all the way up to 130, 140, and
yeah,
they're having a great time. So Belzebub, hopefully that comes to fruition, and I hope that works out for you. But I always say, as having a background in finance, it's always going to be diversified. Obviously, the companies I'm most bullish on, I do have much larger holdings, but it's always good to spread some cash out sometimes. But Ondas, I think, at least in my opinion, is a pretty good bet.
Well, Belzebub, I got a lot of my savings in Ondas too.
Oh, we got a little bit of echo there. I don't know what. Oh, there's two cameras up for you. It's coming through the Zero cam in behind, and also your main mic.
Zero's playing games again. I don't know what's happening.
It looked like he was actually in your walls. I just saw there was a camera that was up behind you. What is that? Benny, look up to the left. There's like a camera.
The light's on too.
Did he put that up? Who put that camera up there?
Yeah. I hear that.
Oh, but that's weird. It's getting an echo.
Yeah.
We had another comment. I think Theradrone of Japan will be a strong competitor. I'm gonna actually take a note on that. Yeah, I don't know them either, so I'm curious why. I'm gonna check them out.
Yeah. Is Kay from Japan? But I mentioned to you that the other day, or one of these other streams here a week or two back, the whole Indo-Pacific, they're gearing up. Japan, they're going to be building aircraft carriers, and I wouldn't want to. Japan can do anything they want to, technologically speaking, to put their mind to it. So I wouldn't want to be on. I'm glad they're our ally. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'll say that they could be a competitor, but if we look back at the Ondas pipeline from the most recent earnings call, most of their tenure they're pursuing is from Europe and then the US, followed by Israel, I believe. So Pacific, there's definitely some business there. There's a couple $100 million, I believe they're going for, but their real focus is on Europe and the US. So while there is definitely gonna be competition over there, and we'll see how much revenue they can squeeze out of there, but I think the main focus for them is going to be Europe, where they're going to be a very strong competitor. I mean, we're already seeing them kind of integrating in the German defense complex, so not too worried in terms of like competition there, but very glad that they're acquiring some companies that are already showing signs of success.
Right. I'm gonna look up Theradrone. Thanks, Kay. And anybody else has any ideas about companies we ought to look at? Definitely send them in. We've got a contact. You can email us straight from the website, www.thezerohourgroup.com. You know how to reach me and or JT on a number of other platforms. We're out there on X, right here through Substack, on the Hidden Gems Research Substack page, as well as a 0 Hour Group Substack. So reach out, let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to know about, maybe who you want to hear from. And if you know any other good companies we ought to be checking out, Theradrone, I'm actually going to be Googling them here today and find out what they've got going on. But are they just a drone company, or are they building a full stack from ground level right on up to the stratosphere and the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities, right? The hard kinetic capabilities, the soft kinetic capabilities, the demining stuff, threat detection, just the robot bulldozers, the little four-legged dog that can accompany troops, right into a cave or tough to get into places for them. The extraction of wounded soldiers, the delivery of logistical items. This is all going to happen with drones, uncrewed systems of all kinds and all capabilities. There's really a whole paradigm shift that's happening. And if you're in Ondas now, even if you got in here in the last few weeks at a little higher level, I think, in my opinion, you're still early in this transformation. So
yeah, for me, anything under 10, I'm quite happy to pick up. I think anything under 10 is you're getting some good value, and if that runs up, if it runs back up to all-time highs right now, you already got a 2x on your hands, right?
Right.
These like $7 levels. So I'm very bullish. I'm definitely running some cash geared put strategies right now, just because the premium generation and the break even is so low, in my opinion, that it's providing quite a nice passive income stream while I wait for it to really take off. And then it goes to 20. Well, okay, I'll sell some covered calls. I'll get some very, very high premium from those covered calls during the money. And then if I get, my shares get taken away at 20 after they ran from, 200%, I'm pretty happy. So I think it's a great vehicle for kind of wealth generation right now, in terms of where the stock price is at and what you can kind of do with it to kind of play with it in your favor. So very exciting. And thank you, KJ, for that comment. We will keep it up, and we're just going up from here. I mean, I think we might have one of the highest production value streams of any retail investors that are actually doing this content right now. So we're going to keep advancing. Our producer is fantastic, and we'll just keep bringing better and better live content and more high profile guests on the show.
Man, I just wish Eric would at least give me a call the morning of, Hey, you might be ready for a live stream today, Benny. Go wake up.
Let's keep making content for him. Yeah.
What's that?
We'll have to keep making content for him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get that. We get a couple thousand people in this stream, and then he'll have to do that. Oh, wake up all the Ondas shareholders. Get in there.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. We represent a lot of them. We sure do.
We do.
So, all right. Well, hey, I really appreciate it. The biggest crowd ever for an impromptu live stream. Right at the spur of the moment.
140.
So, appreciate everyone's help getting JT out of bed. This is a good this is a good reason for it, though.
I read the email and I ran out here. I was just like, oh my god. I was like, you're calling me 30 minutes early for our daily meeting. What's going on here? Yeah. And I was like, wait, he's live.
Hey,
I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Mixed up. You tried to roll over, didn't you? Admit it.
Yeah. If you look at the start of the stream, you see my coffee. My eyes are glazed. I'm just like, man, what's going on? I see he's live. I was like, I gotta get on. Got the new webcam out and just threw that up there. I was like, okay, let's do this. I gotta watch the start of the presentation over again too.
Yeah, I have my Discord pulled up here. I was gonna try to see if Ryan could jump in, help me out. I'd be all by myself floundering on here with no counterpart. But hey, yeah, thanks for making it.
Absolutely, this is biggest stream ever. I mean, wow, people are coming from X, which is fantastic to see, and a couple other platforms. So very excited for our next one, and definitely, I mean, we're gonna be doing a lot of live stream content going forward here. So very excited to build this community.
Yep, looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, everybody. Send those questions, and hey, call your mom. Share the link. All right, everyone, sign mom and or dad up on the 0 Hour Group army. All right, so they can tune in.
Yeah, make sure to check out all the 0 Hour Group platforms. So 0 Hour Group is now on Substack. We're on YouTube. We're on X. I believe we're on Instagram. We're on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. Check us out. Give us a follow. We're creating free content for retail investors. And, just all we ask for is your click, your engagement, your like, and, for your Substack, your restack. And we appreciate all you guys, and we'll see you very soon.
Right on.
All right.